You must be excited this week coming up on
Oh yeah.
JFL, just for laughs, I should say.
Yeah, man. Pumped.
What do you do to prepare for a show like that? Because it's also unique this year that it's actually being streamed as well as an actual audience. So what do you do for that?
Oh man, I've been grinding the pavement. I've just been doing shows like crazy. I live in Vancouver now, but I'm in Calgary right now. I'm doing shows in Edmonton. I did shows in Vancouver. I've just been doing shows ever since things opened up again. I've just been hitting the ground, man. I'm running.
And do you have like a set show? Like, are you like, these are the ideas I have, or do you prep for each show in a different way?
I try to prep in a different way because the set that I have planned for JFL is, I've been working on it during the pandemic, during doing Zoom shows and all that. So I know what I'm doing with the set. So I'm trying not to do it too much because I don't want to sound too rehearsed.
That's
Yeah. So like
awesome.
once in a while, I'll throw a new joke in there, whatever.
I'm sure it has the last couple of years been like a lot of fodder for you because you're kind of sitting on a bunch of jokes.
Oh yeah. Yeah, man, it's I feel like a crazy guy just writing jokes in my little book, and I can't tell them to no one. you know, I just say them to myself like a crazy man.
I think we've all got a little crazy, but at least you're getting material out of it.
Yeah, for sure.
So, what has the last couple of years been like for you? Because I know you released your album, which I was listening to the other day, and just it's such a great comedy album. So I'm curious, like, what has the last couple of years been like for you?
Man, it's been, you know what, man, I'm not gonna lie to you. I I was grateful for the pandemic in the sense that like it made me reset, you know? It made me do things that I stopped doing because of comedy. Because comedy's been so busy for me for the past like 10 years. I've just been like trying to be a stand-up pro comedian for all these years that I sort of stopped reading. I stopped like exercising as much as I usually did, and writing as well because I love writing. I was an English major in university, and like I basically just dropped that when I started doing comedy. So I've been writing a lot in a blog. I've been reading like a mother. Sorry, I didn't mean to swear, but I've been reading like crazy. And yeah, man, just like you know, trying to like get in touch with myself and my roots and all that. So it was good for me, like as an artist, to help me grow.
The thing I love about listening to the album and then some of the other stuff I've listened to was kind of your perspective, growing up in Canada, coming from another country, and everything else. And your view is so perfect about Toronto and Canada in
Yeah.
general. What kind of feedback do you get after you get into this stuff?
You know what, man? I always get like that. I that my energy, like people always feel my energy, especially like during a live show, and that's why I'm so pumped that I get to do just for laughs to a live audience, because I feel like that's where you get the full me. You know what I mean? And also like Latino, like Latinx people are so supportive. Every time I tell our stories, like the amount of people that show love, and like if I'll do shows in Toronto or Calgary, and like Salvadorians will come with the El Salvador flag, like it's really heartwarming, man. Because that's why I do it. I do it for like my culture, because there's only two professional Latinx comedians in the whole country, which is crazy.
And it is crazy because when you think of the makeup of Canada and how diverse most places are, that's interesting. Do you think there's a reason there's not more comedians coming out of Canada?
Like who are Latino or just in general?
Yeah.
Yeah, like man. So first of all, like the only reason I kept doing comedy is because I saw other ethnic comedians do it. Like Dave Merhesh, Arthur Simeon, Russell Peters, who's like the biggest one, right? But then when I moved to Toronto, I met Martha Chavez, who's she's Nicaraguan, and when I saw her, because she's like one of the best. She's a headliner. She's a vet. And I saw her doing what I wanted to do, and that made me believe in myself. So I asked her too. I'm like, why don't you think there's like enough more Latinos like us? And I think it's because like Latinos were just so like programmed by immigrant parents to work, to go get a job that makes money. So my parents hate me because I chose stand up. You know what I mean? I never finished my degree, but now that I'm like making money off of it, they're pumped. But yeah, man, I think it's just people fear their parents. Like Latino parents are crazy.
That's fair. I think a lot of people say that about a lot of job decisions for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
The other thing I love is that you do have a great way of addressing some things in your comedy, and like I think a lot of great comedy does address certain social issues to some degree. Is that on your mind while you're writing, or does it just naturally come in there, or what's your take on that?
Well, I feel like growing up in like Calgary, like in Alberta, as a as an ethnic kid, like a Latino kid, that added so much. I have so much thoughts and like on social issues that like I never knew I had until I realized, oh, I was different. You know what I mean? Being different made me very opinionated, like and make like certain observations. But like I was saying before, during the pandemic, I also read a lot, right? So that has added to my perspective. Like now I can't wait to do comedy because I have so much inspiration from like the books I've been reading, like Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, like the history of like Latinx people like Emilio Zapata, like Pancho Villa. Like I'm tapped into like a new thing because I've been reading like crazy, bro.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Do you think being opinionated is a cornerstone of being a comedian? Like, is that almost where you start and then you get into funny from there? Or
For sure. But the thing is, like, I'm not gonna lie to you. The last 10 years of my career, I don't think I was being myself. You know, I think I was just like seeing how other people were funny, and I tried copying that, right? Because I've always been a funny guy, right? My whole life. But when you bring that funny to the stage, it's different. It's not the same as like telling jokes by the water cooler. It's like this is like a whole art. So I was just copying other people, like looking at what Martha did, Dave, Merhej, all these people. I was like, okay, that's how they do it. So I'm gonna try doing that. And now I'm like, oh, now I'm gonna bring my opinions to the game, my perspective, which is crazy because like if you listen to my album or my old sets, I am talking about myself and my history, but I'm still not doing it as me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now I'm there. And it took
amazing.
like 10 years to figure that out.
So then are you going to work on a new album coming up? Is that in the works at all?
Oh yeah. I'm actually going to record that on September 24th and 25th at Calgary Yuck Yucks. And
Amazing.
it's going to be called Beautiful Papi.
Fantastic. So how long does it take you to prep material for a new album then?
Honestly, like that's like such a good question because honestly, some of the jokes that I'm going to be telling, I've been working on for like 10 years, and some of them are new. They just came from the pandemic. So I basically have till September to get it perfect. And that's a lot of pressure, like especially for the new jokes to fall in line with the old ones, So I'm from the old school, man. Like you always got to be on stage. You always got to be working. You always got to be practicing. So these next like 2-3 months, I'm going to be on stage every night.
That's amazing.
And even when I'm not on stage, I need to make it a priority to write every morning, and like edit all that stuff. Like, yeah, man, I've realized that like this is my job now, so I have to treat it like that.
Do you think people fully realize how much work goes into comedy to prep for a good show?
No, no, like at all. Like it's so funny because I think so many people think that comedy's so easy. You know, you just get up there and you're funny. And you know what? I was one of those people. When I first did my first show, I thought that my natural funniness would carry me. But that was like the biggest mistake or thought that I ever had. Cause like, I'm like, oh no, this is way different. This is like, you're going up there to like the belly of the beast and you better show them that you like got it.
So that makes me wonder, what's the scariest moment you've had on stage? Have you had a truly scary moment for, taking doing this job?
Honestly, I just had it on Monday. Like the other Monday, I had a really like crazy ex show up to my show, and I just wasn't prepared to see her. And like I'm like, I don't know if I can perform right now, like because they were in the audience, and like yeah, man, I felt like I can't do this. And but then I went up and like, it wasn't my best set, but I still did it, and I did like 30 minutes, and my head wasn't there, but I still was able to do it. But beyond that, like I performed in like legions, where everyone's hammered. I'm the only one who looks like me, like, yeah, man, I performed everywhere. And like, I've had some like pretty tough shows, but when I look back on them, those shows made me the best, made me way better than I am now. Because when you perform in cities or comedy clubs, like it's easier. But when you go on the road or you're doing outdoor shows or life happens right before you go on stage like that, those are the true tests of like, are you a good comedian?
So what's your dream now? Like, what's the thing that you want to do in, say, the next 5 or 10 years that you haven't had a chance to do yet?
So yeah, man, honestly, I've been thinking about that a lot. Like, first of all, I want to release my album because the album that I have out now was just an EP. And you know what, man? Back to your feedback question. A lot of people tell me that they really like that recording, and I personally don't. Because
Oh, really?
yeah, those jokes weren't ready yet, and I was so young. And like as I was saying, like I felt like I wasn't being myself. So I can't wait to release my album now in September that I think I'm finally ready for, and just like just to like be a pro, I feel like I'm ready to actually be a pro, like getting into acting, into writing as well, and into like making my transition to move to the States, maybe to LA, where like before I always wanted to go to New York, but now I'm like, I think I want to go to LA because there's a lot of Latino people out there. And I want to be a voice for my culture. Like that's the main thing, especially for Canada, because there's only two of us.
Yeah, I mean, you doing what you're doing is a symbol to other people to step up and get into that job. So that's huge for you to do even better.
Yeah, thank you.
It's wonderful talking. It's wonderful talking about this because I think I don't think everyone realizes what they can do if they really want to. And so having an icon like you to do this first and propel others forward.
Yeah, for sure. And also like to beyond like the whole like, you know, making money off of this, which is what I want to do. I want to make money. You know what I mean? I want to be able to like provide for my family and my friends, but like you were saying, I want to show like not only Latinx kids, but like anybody who's ethnic or different, that you can put your mind to it. You can do this thing. Because I've been working at it, and there's been so many nights where it felt like nothing was going to come out of it. And that still could be the case, but I'm still going to work like something is at the end of the tunnel there. And yeah, man, and like also to like people who deal with like addiction, because I deal with that, and I'm sober, and to show people that you can do this without alcohol, drugs. I do it off of my own energy. You know what I mean? And that's like my main goal, is to show people that you can be an entertainer without all that stuff.
That's awesome. Well, and I'm glad you talked about the fact that you want to get into acting, because I did want to ask, like, not every comedian wants to get into acting or that stuff, but is there, like, do you see yourself going out for like sitcoms, or are you looking for something in particular?
So I moved to Vancouver for acting, because there's like it's like Hollywood North, and I booked some stuff when I was living in Toronto. So I'm gonna be honest with you, I love acting more than comedy, way more.
Really?
Like I always
Wow.
wanted to be Al Pacino or Robert De Niro. You know what I mean? Benicio del Toro. Stand up to me was the lowest of the totem pole. You know, I thought that stand up comedians were lame when I was a kid, right? I want to be an actor, like be in movies like The Godfather, Goodfellas, whatever, whatever. And stand up was like the lowest of the totem pole until I saw Chris Rock. And that's when I'm like, oh, I could do this. Because Chris Rock was dope. Like he would dress fly. He was hip hop, hang out with rappers. And I'm like, okay, now I can do that. You know?
That's cool. I mean, it is interesting that I don't think comedians get enough credit, especially now, considering the breadth of comedians that are out there today and their styles. The fact that you can have comedians with such different kind of vibes and stories that they're trying to tell and everything else. But I will admit, TV and film, you kind of set it at a different bar, I guess, in some ways.
Yeah.
Do you have a genre you want to do? Like, do
Oh
you
man.
want to be in dramas?
You know what my goal is that I want to be the funniest comedian in the world, but I want to be that guy like Robin Williams almost, where you're just the funniest dude ever, but you're able to play like the most dramatic, cryptic roles. Like that's what my goal is. And I've been taking classes, coaching, like meeting up with other, because you know what I discovered moving to Vancouver is that I'm a horrible actor. You know what I mean? So I gotta make it. I gotta get better. You know what I mean?
Well, good luck and thank you so much for the time. I can't wait to see the set from Just for Laughs, and
Yeah. Thank you.
really great chatting, and congratulations on everything so far. And I can't wait to see what comes next.
Perfect. Thank you, my man.